The EA buyout is not over yet.
This deal is corrupt and awful for all gamers.
It'll make gaming worse and more expensive.
I'm all in.
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 Oh shit. Is it my turn? You know, sometimes when I look at the Sims community, I do kind of feel like they're living in another reality. And that kind of makes sense because I know some of them do live vicariously through their Sims game. As a matter of fact, I'm about 100% certain that there's at least one person out there who's in a fully committed romantic relationship with their Sim. Fortunately, on this channel, we live in the real world. And in this world, on September 29th, 2025, it was announced that Electronic Arts was being sold to the Saudi government and the Trump family.
They're eating the dogs.
When people heard this news within the Sims community, and I think among gamers in general, the consensus was like, wait, what the fuck is going on?
Wait. You said that.
There's actually multiple reasons why this deal is bad. It's terrible for human rights because this Saudi government will own 93.4% of EA, and that same government executes innocent people. Being gay is punishable by death there. Women don't have equal rights. There's no free press, slave labor. The list goes on and on and on. It's also terrible for consumers. This deal includes $20 billion of debt that EA will have to pay off by introducing even more predatory monetization, AI slop, decreasing quality, layoffs, studio closures. Again, the list is plentiful. Not to mention, EA has access to the user data of 700 million players. So yes, the Saudi government and Donald Trump's son-in-law will own the personal information of anyone who's ever played an EA game. I made a whole video about this topic with friend of the channel, Lady Drama. Check that out if you haven't. No matter what angle we look at this, human rights, privacy, consumer protection, game quality, the preservation of beloved IP, the EA sale is a terrible deal for us. On this channel, you guys know I always talk about greedy game companies and things that are bad for players, and the EA deal is one of the most anti-player things to ever happen in video game history. And this is why I've made at least 10 videos about the buyout. Clearly, this is a topic that I care deeply about, not just as a fan of The Sims and Mass Effect and Dragon Age, but also just from a macro standpoint. This entire buyout is terrible for the video games industry. It sets a dangerous precedent, and all in all, it is a big deal, and it seems like many of you agree. Obviously, my channel isn't huge, so I don't have a huge reach, but by making all these videos and raising awareness and trying to get people to stop giving their money to EA, I guess I hoped that if the backlash to the sale among EA's player base was so severe that it affected their bottom line and there was a significant drop in revenue, then shareholders would have no choice but to reconsider this deal. And that's exactly why, despite the rage bait hater accusations from the Sims community, I made so many videos criticizing the sale and encouraging the community to take action and pressuring influencers to grow a fucking backbone and stop working with EA. And although there were several players and content creators and journalists and politicians and gaming industry veterans who spoke out against this deal, sadly it wasn't enough. On December 23rd, 2025, EA shareholders voted to approve the sale. This was the most important step in finalizing the deal, and they succeeded. As a matter of fact, 99% of EA shareholders voted yes to the sale. Looking back, I think it would have been great to have had a more cohesive movement, because the various EA game communities were kinda all over the place. Some people like me were saying we should boycott all EA products, others were saying don't boycott because it hurts the developers.
Creators and players who are calling for a boycott right now are only making the situation worse. Boycotts at this moment would almost certainly contribute to job losses for the very people at EA and Maxis who make these games possible.
And some people were just being, whatever the hell you call this.
Are you watching this video on a phone right now? Some child in a third world country probably in a mine explosion so that they could mine something to build the phone that you're watching me on right now. Congratulations, you child.
I do feel like if there had been a more collective effort where the Sims community and Battlefield and the sports people all rallied together with prominent influencers representing each of EA's major IP, raising awareness and encouraging players to boycott to really put pressure on EA, maybe it would have accomplished something. But that didn't happen. So now the harsh reality is the buyout is going to happen. Now they finalized the most crucial components of the sale, and in a month or two, this company will fully be in the hands of the new owners. But you might be thinking, Malcolm, there's one more thing, isn't there?
The United States.
United States.
The US government still has to approve EA sale. A couple days ago, the largest Sims content creator Lil Simsy posted a video urging players to sign a petition asking the Treasury Secretary of the United States to reconsider this sale.
The EA buyout is not over yet, and I'll be live streaming on April 15th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with my own representative, Maxwell Frost, to chat about what we can do about it.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
Are you? Well, I'll see you all there.
If you look at the comments on this video, they're all showering Lil Simsy with effusive praise. There's a bunch of people saying, yes, I signed the petition, let's go, we can do it. And it actually appears that a lot of people seem to think this petition, which is addressed to the US government, is going to stop the sale of EA.
The next things you can do are simple. Sign our global petition.
Look, I love a good petition. Chronically Online people, give us a petition and we'll sign it. I guarantee you. But let me hold your hand when I say this. This petition is not going to do shit. That's because the big red elephant in the room that we're all conveniently ignoring is that the head of the US government, Donald Trump's son-in-law, is one of the 3 buyers of EA.
So you might be inclined to think that since this deal has to be approved by the SEC, that our new ultra-conservative Christian government might not allow Islamic influence in our media, until you find out that one of the investment groups is owned by Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner.
Oh, and guess what? The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, to whom this petition is being addressed, was hand-selected by none other than Donald Trump. He was literally chosen by Trump to be the Treasury Secretary shortly after his inauguration, okay? What a coincidence that the few people who actually have the power to do something to stop this buyout are all in cahoots with the buyers.
He is the son-in-law of Donald Trump. Fabulous! There we go. That's why the US isn't pushing back on this.
I want you to ask yourself, is there any world where the Treasury Secretary would do something that directly harms his boss's family? Trump can remove this man from his position at any time for any reason. So I think we can confidently say the Treasury Secretary does not give a fuck about this petition or any petition that would jeopardize his job. Some of you might be saying, but wait, what about Congress? Lil Simsy invited Maxwell Frost, a Florida congressman, to play Stardew Valley with her on stream and I guess speak about the buyout. And I love that. I love that concept, but there are also 434 other members of the House, and the majority of those Congress people belong to which party is it? That's right, the same one as Donald Trump. Once again, we're faced with the harsh reality, which is that while Trump is in power and his party is in control of Congress, nothing can be done to stop the EA sale. So Lil Simsy, we're a little cook seed here.
And if I didn't like him, I'd get out of here so fast. You know that, don't you? He knows me well. I do. I like him a lot. I like him too much. That's why we give so much, you know? Too much. I like you too much.
I appreciate that after 6 months of saying nothing about the EA buyout, Lil Simsy's talking about it again. I love to see that Lil Simsy and her gang of Sims creators are finally interested in doing something to stop the sale, but I'm just a little bit confused by the timing of this all. Trust me, I'm all for activism. I'm all for influencers using their platforms to speak about important issues. I love that and I encourage that, but when it comes to the EA sale, as a great philosopher once said, it's just too little too late. Lil Simsy made this post saying she wants to inform players about what they can do to stop the buyout, and I love that. Once again, raising awareness is important, but when it comes to that part of what we can do to stop the buyout, I can't help but wonder, where was this energy 6 months ago? It pains me to say it, but at this point, there is nothing we can do to stop this deal. There have been 10 petitions about the fucking buyout, labor unions speaking out, numerous news articles. I was in a Financial Times news article talking about the buyout. 2 US Senators, Elizabeth Warren and Richard Blumenthal, already sent letters to the Treasury Secretary months ago, and nothing has happened. There's a reason all these efforts have proven to be futile. It pains me to say it, but there's nothing that can be done to stop this deal. It's too late. The only thing we as players can do now is what sits right with our own conscience. For me, that's voting with my wallet, not buying EA products, not promoting EA products products as a content creator and encouraging others to do the same. I think this whole thing is weird. It's corporate dystopia. Why is one of the largest video game companies in the world being sold to a foreign government and the fucking Trump family? We should not be supporting this on a fundamental level. So yes, please boycott EA products if you don't agree with the sale. The money you give EA today is enriching the owners of tomorrow. It's increasing the revenue of this company and thus the market cap of EA. But when it comes to stopping the sale,
I want to do all I can to help stop the EA buyout.
The deal has been signed. The debt has been sold. It has been finalized by shareholders, and it will get regulatory approval in a month or two. It's inevitable at this point. So having this whole discussion now about what we can do to stop the buyout, babes, it's a little bit too late for that, don't you think? I don't want to say Lil Simzy and Co are being performative or that they're virtue signaling or anything like that, because I truly do believe that they don't want the sale to go through. Now, there is a self-serving interest here, of course. We can't deny that. For many of them, I think they view the sale as a threat to their livelihood. A lot of people in the Sims community are very consumer conscious as is, and there's a ton of Sims players who are refusing to buy EA products. That is bad news for these Sims content creators who rely on interest in the game and the views and the ad revenue they gain from that interest. So yes, there is a self-serving component to this. Anyway, at the end of the day, I do think these creators care. However, there is one thing in particular that I do not understand. And warning, what I'm about to say might get me in trouble. If you are a toxic positivity Sims girly, you might want to click off right about now. And also, if you're hate watching, just know I have a humiliation kink and a bottle of Jergens right next to me, Costco size. So any comments you leave here, going straight to the spank bank. Okay?
I'm all in. I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in. Do you guys mean you're all in the EA Creator Network? I did a quick Google search, and at least 6 of ththese people who are saying I'm all in, let's stop the EA sale, at least 6 of them are still in the EA Creator Network. 6 of them made videos promoting the last Sims 4 DLC. I am just a little bit, como se dice, losing fucking brain cells over the hypocrisy that I'm witnessing here. By the way, this is not directed at Lil Simzy in particular. I know she's not in the EA Creator Network. Lil Simzy stans, you guys have to chill the fuck out. I know you guys stand hard for a millionaire influencer, but you gotta chill with the death threats and the slurs, okay? It's not normal. But to these 6 or so creators I'm referring to, if you are actively working with EA, you are supporting the deal. I don't know what is so hard to understand about this. Genuinely, you're in the EA Creator Network promoting DLC to your viewers. You're saying use my creator code at checkout.
I truly think this pack is stunning. I do have a creator code.
You're going to sponsored events. You're opening PR packages. You're doing everything in your power to make EA wealthier. But then you're hopping on a soapbox to preach about how much you hate the sale, and guys, I'm all in. Let's stop the buyout. I can't be the only one who's getting mixed messages here. In the comments of Lil Simzy's video, a former EA partner and Sims content creator, Iron Siegel, actually kinda clocked it. He said, I don't understand. At least most of those Simmers besides Kayla are still in the Sims creator program, aren't they? Can't truly say you're quote all in if you're still on EA's side. What are we doing? Do they just expect us all to conveniently ignore this? Because to me, it weakens the message they're trying to get across. If you care strongly about something, say Amazon, for example, if I don't agree with Amazon as a company and their business practices, then I will not be spending my money on Amazon.com, and I will certainly not be working with Amazon to promote their products and services. Where's the solidarity? Where's the conviction if your words do not align with your actions? I don't know if any of you are familiar with BookTube or BookTok. It's like the book side of social media where they have content creators talking about new releases and stuff, but there's this ongoing debate among book content creators about whether it's ethical to work with Amazon.
Maybe if you have hundreds of thousands of followers, you shouldn't be promoting Amazon to your audience, especially when you talked about in the past how you don't endorse Amazon and you've encouraged people to shop on indie bookstores, but that's neither here nor there.
Because Amazon has a creator program so influencers can get commissions if they sign up for it, and their viewers use their links to buy books. And there's also Audible, which is owned by Amazon, and they sponsor a bunch of these book channels. So there's this divide among the book content creators, and some of them feel very strongly about not working with Amazon. They kind of look down on the ones who sell out to Amazon and Audible.
They are ruining the publishing industry, and they just suck.
Because, you know, that company has a track record of being anti-union and they don't give authors a fair cut when they publish with them, all this stuff. There's tons of reasons not to support Amazon and most importantly, to not work with them as an influencer, right? But to me, it's a very similar situation with EA and these Sims creators.
This deal is corrupt and awful for all gamers.
It'll make gaming worse and more expensive.
Babes, you're actively lining EA's pockets as we speak. You posted an EA-sponsored video promoting Sims 4 DLC 1 month ago, bro. This is why Sims influencers have always pissed me the fuck off, because they have been flip-flopping for years. Even before the buyout, this behavior predates all of this. One of my biggest gripes with Sims influencers was that they would gladly shill for EA, take sponsorships, market the hell out of the 115 DLC, and ultimately enable EA's anti-consumer practices. But when it came time for them to actually criticize EA, to talk about the low-quality products and the pricing and the fucking egregious cost of all this DLC, or God forbid, cut ties with EA and stop working with this notoriously predatory company that it's always been, they were all weirdly silent. Where were you guys at when we, the viewers and the players, needed you to speak up about the actual real problems with this game? Oh, I know where you were. You were in EA's fucking pocket. A few years ago, when a brand new type of DLC called Kits was announced, Lil Simsy went online and said, "Kits? There's already so much DLC."
Now, The Sims 4 is already ridiculously expensive. When you add it all up, it costs like $600+ for all of the packs. And now they're adding more paid DLC. I'm really worried about how fast it's gonna add up. Like $15 today, another $5 in a few weeks, or whenever the next one comes out. Like it will add up so fast, and that makes me nervous. My main concern is this is like so much paid DLC for The Sims 4. Like, The Sims is so expensive already, and now you're throwing more at me. I mean, I'm so scared of this becoming like the Sims 3 store.
But then what did she do? She not only promoted every fucking kit that came out, but she also worked with EA and took a check from EA to make her very own kit.
I have been secretly working on creating my own kit with The Sims. We've been at this for almost a year, and the Comfy Gamer kit officially launched yesterday.
It's the same hypocrisy on display right before me, not from Lil Simsy this time. Hold the slurs, Lil Simsy stands, but from this cohort that she's put together. How hard is it to say, I hate what EA's doing, I hate this fucking sale, and I can't continue working with them and promoting their products? Is it really that hard to stand on business? Once again, the Sims influencers are giving all back and absolutely zero bone. Where were these people for the last 6 months, particularly around the time that the buyout was announced? What were you doing? Oh, I know.
And now in Adventure Awaits, there's a brand new collection trading feature.
Yeah, that's right. They were all busy hyping up the latest, greatest Sims 4 DLC. Interesting. The messaging is not consistent, and it has not been consistent for the last 6 months, at least not from this crowd of influencers. By the way, just to be clear, I'm not encouraging anyone to send hate to these people. I don't condone that, and I never have. But I can't ignore the double standards and the flip-flopping from the Sims community. Even to this day, they can't fucking decide, should we work with EA or not? Should we call for a boycott or not? They can't even be consistent, but one thing they do know how to do is, sign a fucking petition. But my point in saying all this is, if you're gonna stand for something, stand 10 toes down. And if you really care, you won't just speak up when it's convenient for you. I appreciate this effort, truly. Sure, it's 6 months late, but better late than never, right? Well, sadly, that idiom doesn't work here because it is actually too late. But hey, if all else fails, this is great for the optics, isn't it? Yeah. I want to end on a positive note and say fuck The Sims. There's a ton of other great games you can play and great game studios you can support. Paralives is coming in May. There's a cozy game called Loftia that's releasing a closed beta in a few days. It's an indie game. It seems pretty inclusive. It's like Heartopia, but not racist and hopefully not gotcha. There's so much out there to fill the void of The Sims 4, so don't fret. As someone great once said, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully it's not a plumb bob.